Hey, it's Ian Gordon here, Ridley College Students International Baccalaureate Program. Hope you're doing well and you're staying safe. Ian Gordon, Science Librarian for Brock Library here once again to give you a few words of encouragement and resources to help you be successful with your project. Last time we looked at books and ebooks, and hopefully you've done your homework. This time I'd like to talk about searching for scholarly journal articles. Just a bit differently, but it's a different format, but it's really important as you put your thesis together, you scaffold or frame out your arguments that you like to talk about, and you get definitions and scholarly articles and books for each one of those, probably 3 points that you're looking for. So when you sit down and write, you have the materials you need in hand to do what you need to do. So go through this. It should take a few minutes, so let's get started. Our agenda today is moving through the slideshow, which is archived on a working document. So I'll show you where those notes are so you can review them again. Share searching strategies and databases. Searching for journal articles is the same as searching for books and ebooks. Though books and ebooks uses standardized words and languages, and there's few books and ebooks and documents than there are journal articles. Whereas before you found maybe 100 books, you looked at 40 of them, you thought 20 were interesting, and you used 6 or 7 of them, and you grabbed those citations and put them into Zotero or a citation management system so you can track those as well. Looking for journal articles, scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles, are the gold standard for research, and we'll talk about that in a minute. My sense is you're going to probably find 1,000 articles that may be of potential interest. Look at 100, see 30 or 40 and download 10 to 20. And cite those and include those and borrow from those, take quotes from those, statistics, data. But yet again, like every subject, every discipline that you're doing, whether it's business or science or literature or world affairs, looks at the world differently. So there's different databases for different disciplines and different ways of looking at the world. Hopefully you're beginning to appreciate that. We're going to review the first and second assignments. So there's an assignment at the end of this. It's not too hard, but yeah, you need to do it. And then I'm going to show you where you can get additional help if you still need help. Help getting started, help finding something, help getting the resources that you need that you've identified that may be difficult from being off campus and somewhere else in the world. But hopefully we can help you to be successful. So when you sit down and write, you've framed out your thesis. You've built in 3 or 4 issues that you talk about. You've got definitions, scholarly articles, books and ebooks, and resources that could speak to these issues so that it's pretty easy just to put the pieces together to write your project. Assumptions. We went over them last time. Let's go over some of them again. You know the difference between news, opinion, review articles, and scholarly peer-reviewed articles. If you don't know, there's resources that you could follow. I'm assuming that you know what the differences are and why they're important. You know the difference between plagiarizing an idea or work and paraphrasing. Again, I may have said this last time, but plagiarizing is probably the worst thing you could do in this particular project. Taking an idea that's not yours, quoting something in your own, not in your own words, but in somebody else's words. Not that you'll be found out, but it's just unethical. And you should resist the temptation to do it, and you should steer yourself away from it. Writing is tricky and difficult, but paraphrasing is a skill unto itself. You've exhausted the Ridley Library databases and online resources. So you've gone there. It's your first stop. You've looked at the databases that they use. You know how to use them. You've pulled the materials. You may not need to use the resources that I'm going to show you today. My sense is these resources I will show you and point you towards will help supplement and complement what you're looking at. You've investigated your local public libraries. If you have a local public library, they have access to databases, resources, and books and ebooks that you can use. And you've made a contact with an academic library, either through a parent, a relative, a sibling, someone you know. You really need to reach out and say, how can I take advantage of using your digital resources at your academic library, wherever you are around the world? Brock Library is probably not much different than any other academic library. And you may get access to it, which would be a definite bonus. You know what Zotero is as a software management system? If not, look it up. And what it does. We'll talk about that in the next installment of this video chat. And ask for help when appropriate. We'll go over that at the very end. Peer-reviewed scholarly journal articles. The goal of this session is to introduce you to a variety of search engines. There's quite a few, and scholarly databases to cite articles and find free or open articles. I mean, that would be a bonus. And add citations to your research project. Actually, you'll find scholarly articles that you do not have access. Do not pay for any articles. Resist the temptation or the prompting. Put them in your citation list, and when we meet next time, I'll show you what you can and can't do as you move forward. You need to identify things that are crucial to your arguments, and as you scaffold subcategories and with ways of thinking and expressing yourself. Now's not the time to get them, but if you can, grab them if you can. Different disciplines have different database and ways of creating, sharing, and publishing research. Totally true. Business is not classics, which is not visual arts, which is not film, which is certainly not mathematics. Though there's commonalities of knowing what you're looking for, developing a strategy, executing it within a database or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and using the appropriate keywords and filters and sorting systems to identify things that are appropriate. You'll know when you have enough when you kind of look at your list of citations and go, I keep saying the same things, or I've seen that before, I know that. It's kind of an affirmation that you're hitting right, and you've identified whether there's a lot or there's very little, and you've grabbed the citations and the full documents when they're available for these particular sections of your project. An assignment at the end of this session asks you to cite at least 2 scholarly journal articles, so as you move along the way, grab those citations that are pertinent to your project. Again, I've kind of tipped my hat to what the assignment is. We'll go over that again. And a working document of notes will be available in addition to where to get help. I'll show you where those are. Took a while to put those together, but hopefully you'll use those not only for this assignment and project, but other coursework as well. I'm going to use the same subject I use for rebooks. I was tempted to use a different subject, but this one worked well. I know it inside and out and how it works and doesn't work. We looked at the thesis statement, or the question, the research question. Somebody asks you, so what are you doing? I'm looking at this research question. To what extent can mothers get jealous of their daughters? Fraught with different words and commutations and permutations, but after going through the books, the scholarly articles, I found that I'm looking at the psychology side. So as you move through your topic and you move through the databases and you search, you develop a list of keywords, aim yourself for this assignment towards psychology, and you will have to do the same thing as well, whether it's physics, sociology, family studies, world studies. You're going to have to say, there's just too much. I need to narrow this down. And this is where you grab a book, an article, a definition, a newspaper article, data or statistics that speak to a particular issue, but then you have to just narrow it down. I'm going to use psychology as opposed to other subjects. I listed my subject areas. Those are my 3 points. I found books and ebooks that relate to these topics. And keywords. I developed a list of keywords, and I found new keywords. We're looking for scholarly articles on mothers, daughters, and jealousy. I found that the jealousy didn't work well. I wasn't willing to abandon it, but I found other words that worked well that helped me develop a lexicon of keywords that I attached to my project, but I also used to help search and inform others of what this research is about, besides the article and my thesis statement. We put this Venn diagram together. There's 3 areas. You may have 4. You may have just 2. Usually people have 3. Usually they have 2 issues and then either a population or a place like Pakistan, or just women, or a time period, or a genre. But here I have 3 particular concepts, and I'm looking for all the articles that have these 3, recognizing that there's many articles, just as books and ebooks, that are about daughters and mothers. Jealousy within children or daughters, or jealousy that mothers may exhibit. It's nice to get all 3, but I know I have to sift and sort and use a combinations of words and to find articles that are relevant. Again, I'm looking for articles. I'm not looking for news or popular media or dictionaries or definitions or theories, but I'm looking for them on the side. I found out that, about 2000 is as old as I wanted to get for my materials. I'm looking for definitions and theories. I'm looking for English language materials. You may look at others. You may be in history, looking at French and German or classics and Latin. But I'm saying it's a bias, looking for English language materials. And I found out that the word mother-daughter, as in the phrase mother-daughter relationships, was really powerful beside the keywords. So, and in Google, just like in most databases, and you can try this, if you put mother, daughter within quotation marks, that is a way of putting in a phrase. So the word mother has to be beside the daughter. And that actually worked well. The asterisk at the end of daughter, just as it is in emotion, in most databases, like in Google, finds any word with that root. So emotional, emotions, emotion hyphen words. And that was powerful to pick up any other variant spellings as well. But many databases will pick up additional words that you haven't thought of. They're actually a smart database. It's hard to know when that happens, but it does. Or they'll pick up plurals or alternate spellings, like the word behavior spelled in a British or an American way. Some databases do it. Sometimes you just have to put both spellings in. I've learned how to filter by date in every database. Language, as I said, is important. Format. Journals, serials, articles, whatever words. I didn't look at other documents. I kind of leant towards that. And sometimes, like psychology, I put in that grouping of term when it was available so that I corner the market not only by my keywords and my search strategies and logic, other filtering, but I'm looking at a psychological side of this as well. I'll certainly mention that in my project. Some databases you need to register or sign into the databases. One, to get a better search. Two, if you want to set things aside and then email them to yourself. Some databases, not too many, ask you to sign in just to use them. It's usually free and you can sign out again, but it's a simple thing to do. It's just their way of tracking who's using it, why, and when. Here's an article I found. Mother-daughter relationship, there's that word mother-daughter, eh? And daughter's self-esteem. Never thought of self-esteem. I look at the article, I read the abstract, I found it in one of the databases. It's 7 pages long. I clicked on it and cited it, put it in my Zotero account and produced it. And there's the citation style. You can choose whatever citation style you're suggested and you should use. I changed it up, but here's one that's here. And I put the URL link for the DOI or the digital object identifier for that one article as well. Is this article a scholarly peer-reviewed journal? Well, it doesn't say that it's a scholarly peer-reviewed on the top. I always say if it smells, looks, and tastes peer-reviewed, it probably is. So there's a number of things that you should look at. And they go over on the resources that I'll identify soon about what is a peer-reviewed scholarly article. But this is the gold standard. You want an article that has been vetted by peers, peer-reviewed, blindly, so that it's met the standard and it adds to the body of literature. It's not fake news. It's not bad science. It's good science because it was accepted by peers and vetted to make it accurate and appropriate and formatted so that it would be readable as well. And it was published, so it passed through that process. So by looking at it, I can tell it's peer-reviewed. But again, you have to have that filter because it does just not say in the article, this is a peer-reviewed article. Okay. Here's where this Ridley IB literature search is. I'll share this document on the resources. And the guide, there's 101 suggested free databases that you could use. But there's 13 scholarly databases that I identify. And last time I highlighted in yellow databases I think you should use. This one I've suggested you could probably use all 13. But here's where that list is, and I'll show you where that is in a minute. So the first thing it is, I searched Omni, which is the Brock Library database. I searched the search engine on the left-hand side. I put in the word mother in capitals OR for the logic, a mother, and I truncated it to put shift 8 mothers or mothering or motherhood or parents. I found the word parent worked well. I put all those to one side and I put everything with daughter or daughters to the other side, combined the two, still had thousands of articles. I clicked on the article resource type on the top right-hand side and I clicked on English as well. I threw my other words in like jealousy or hate or emotion or emotionals or envy or envious, words that were like that. And I put those together. And then I went back at this on the left-hand side. I highlighted words and titles. Now, not all articles have titles of keywords that you would like. So that's the art of online searching. But I found there were so many that I could get away with this combinations or permutations of mother, parent, daughter, daughtering, and any one or all of those words. And I clicked on search, and then on the bottom it says I could look at them and cite them. Some of them are open access, not many, but some of them are, so you can put them into your citation management system. Say, here's an article. Even though I can't get the full text, I need to put it in my list, so I put that to one side. But if you click on the open access, it finds articles that you can open and access that are free for you to use as well. So Omni is a database that we teach our students to use, and you can certainly use it as well. It's quite powerful. I found this article, Love, Duty, and Burden, Mothers and Daughters' Engagements with Familial Obligations. It's not perfect, but it fits one of my 3 categories. It talks about mother-daughter relationships. The word emotion was picked up, but I want to look at this. And so you'll err on finding, 2, 3, 10, 20, maybe 50 articles that fit into your categories and subheadings. And you'll find 5 or 6 just you'd kill for it. They're just awesome. And those are the ones that you should lean on. But there's other articles you need to fill holes or arguments for quotes, for data, or just to say that this author said this, or the research says this. And that's important in a scholarly paper or project that you're doing as well. So it says peer-reviewed underneath it. Not all databases say peer-reviewed, so I'll assume it is, but you still have to filter and see it is. And then we go to the full text. You can't do that now, but we'll talk about that later. And here's the full text article. Again, look at it. Is it peer-reviewed? Received, accepted, and published dates, an abstract, institutional addresses. Look at the keywords that they would have used to describe this article as well. It has a methodology, original data, it has observations, conclusions, it has references, meaning that this article is built on a body of knowledge. Again, it's scholarly, and it has moved the peer review process. And while you're there, you might as well grab the citation as well for this assignment, but also for your project as well. So put it in a place you'll find it, and the article itself, and create, instead of wondering where did that go when you go to write. Again, Zotero helps you to do that. Here's a Google search, and this is a strategy for structure searching. If you put in all entitled, keyword, file type, PDF, that's a way in searching Google, like I've said, replacing the keyword by 1 or 2. I've replaced it by the phrase mother, daughter, daughters, or daughtering. You can put 1 or 2 words in, but it finds PDFs on the internet that have these words in the title of the PDF. They're usually journal articles or working documents or working papers or full text books or government reports. Look at them, I found. So you can suggest a series of keywords that you could try. See if they'll pull up articles in a way that our search engines won't. Mother-daughter relationships and daughter self-esteem. Science Direct. Taylor and Francis. There's 2 articles that you may want to look at and just grab right away. So many ways to get at this. Scholarly databases, metadata databases, subject-related databases, but you can use your Google PDF searching as well. Try it. Here's one database. I think there's 11 or 12 that I suggest. This one was kind of neat. It searches for, it's called BASE, online digital resources of any type, books, ebooks, documents, web pages, files, but also scholarly articles as well. So again, your strategy is variant as the search engine allows. Rather than Google where it says just put in a word or a phrase, we put in our words and separate similar concepts by the word or, and we and concepts together. So I'm looking for any articles through the entire document that have jealousy or hate or envy or emotion. I'm looking for the title. I want the words in the title, so mother or daughter. And it actually pluralizes those as well. You can search it, and I found, 50 articles, and most of them were in full text. And I found this document here, number 6, Interpersonal Emotional Dynamics in Mother-Daughter Dyads During Adolescence. I was kind of curious about that. And it's actually a PhD thesis from Queen's University, which is in Kingston, Ontario, Canada. But if you look at number 15, what it is this person with another person, after the PhD dissertation, which is free and open to use, you can grab it. It's open. You can just grab it and get it. They've written an article in the American Psychological Association journal called Emotion. So it's looked like they did the thesis and said, let's write a research article. So I grabbed both and put them in my Zotero account. Quite informative. And here they are. On the left is the thesis. On the right is the article. Similar concepts, technical refinement, and again at the bottom is the citation that I've pulled directly from Zotero. I think it's an MLA style. I don't know all the styles. Microsoft Academic is a type of a metadatabase, like Semantic Scholar or Google Scholar. It's a tool where you put words in and it builds clusters. This is a free source you can use for any particular subject, but this is a really neat. It uses artificial intelligence cluster searching to find articles. So I put those 3 words in. Again, you can't search for words and titles. It uses an algorithm to find the best appropriate topics. That there's filters on the left-hand side. And I can sort the articles by relevancy, number of times it's touched, how important it is, and how current it is. So you can vary the list and you can pick off them one at a time or grab them and put them into a file as you can sign into the database as well. But look at the clusters. Jealousy is a cluster. It gives you a definition. And so you can search in a different way, meaning you're searching through subjects that are related to keywords as opposed to natural language searching. try it. I find it quite fascinating, and the results do differ for this particular database as opposed to other ones. Here's an article I look for. Is it peer-reviewed? How do you know? Is it important to use? It is peer-reviewed, and there's a citation that I pulled off in a different style because I need to add this for this assignment, but I also need to add it, save it, and put this article to one side. Whether I use it again, I just need to know where to get it when I start to write. Here's the tarot. I've been talking about it. So as I run and I search and I find an article in this database, or 3 here, or 4 here, ebooks here, documents, web pages here, this is a free download. It's on my workstation. And what I do is I send the articles to this database, and you can see I have a file called Ridley IB project. And what do I have? 10 or 20 items here. Every time I find something, I send the metadata, meaning the title, author. I don't type anything in. It sends it here, and it builds a list of resources so that when I go and look at it, every time I add something, it builds a body of knowledge. So when I write my bibliography references, I create it right from here. When I attach notes to this, or I can link this to PDF, so there's one place. Zotero is a type of citation management system. We'll talk more about it next time when we meet, but really, it's a lifesaver. So here's that guide that I was telling you about. I'll send you the URL. It's in Google Docs. It gives you the video that I'm doing right now, the presentation slides, and the 101 free online journal and research database for articles PDF. So go get that. There's some other databases that are there. And though some databases work well for science and technology, engineering and medicine, where there's a lot of activity, most of the free and most of the content falls within the areas, and less so in the social sciences. I know I said this last time. Even fewer in the humanities, fewer scholars, fewer competition, fewer rapidity, fewer articles churned out over the time. So depending on your subject area and how you think and what words work, what database you have, you may find you've got a lot of information. Most of you will, but some of you will find out that I'm just kind of not finding what I'm supposed to be looking for. And that's when you need to reach out and ask for assistance as well. So again, check these resources, and the arrow says there's 4 or 5 pages of my notes as I would suggest which databases to try. Knowing you could try one, none, I would try them all, knowing that you've developed a lexicon of keywords and search terms that work best. Here's that 101 free online guide. You can see the subject areas. See, they're bending towards science, technology, engineering, and medicine. But even that's not foolproof. There's more places to search. Less so in social sciences, less so in humanities. And business is a different area, and economics is another area altogether. Such that here's the economics guide from my colleague at Brock Library, Linda Lowry, who's the business librarian, where I'm the science librarian. This is her guide, or her holding place, course management system for economics. And I just pulled up the tab for finding journal articles. Look how developed it is. And if you look at the bottom, there's EconLit, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 databases that we have access, we pay for, that you may find in another academic library, where that's where we find scholarly articles, as opposed to Google Docs and Base and Core and Microsoft Academic and other tools as well. Google Scholar is a free source that we use and you can use as well. But it just points to that there are subject-specific, proprietary databases that cover the same sorts of content, but cover unique content in a different way. But they're discipline specific, and we train students to do this. And those are resources we can't give you access, but we may be able to help you down the road. So think about that as well. So here's our agenda. We moved through the slideshow, showed you where the working document is. We share some strategies of databases and where to go. It's up to you. You're driving this bus. You know what you're looking for, when you need to stop, change, add, reflect, and you also know when to stop when you think you have enough of information with your books and ebooks, journal articles. When we meet next, we'll talk about other types of materials that may be important as well. Share strategies, but reach out for help if it's just not working for you. Let's review the first and second assignments and where to get additional help. So here's your assignment. Hopefully you've done the other one. Books and ebooks. Similar, find at least 2 scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles to use in your research. Have to be scholarly peer-reviewed, so you'll need to know. I think you can find 3. You probably need 1 each for each of your sub-ideas in your thesis, and as you scaffold through, you just find 3, and you can choose the format, APA, MLA, whatever you choose to use for your project as well. I did my homework. As I went through, I picked these. Here's 3 scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles, different journals, different areas, different time periods. Some of them come from parenting, some of them come from psychology. So they're interdisciplinary as the subject lends itself to many different areas. Where to get help? Well, check with your teacher in your faculty area in the baccalaureate program. They've done this many years and they know where to help to guide you, because a good assignment is a done assignment. I'll say that again. A good assignment or project is a done assignment. You just need to move forward and be intensive and proactive and get your books, get your articles, read and take part in my next and probably my last video, and then decide how do I move forward to start writing and putting my ideas together. You do this all the time, but really a good assignment is a done assignment. You need to know how to be successful and sustainable. Email me if you have a question right out of the box and put Ridley IB or something like that in the subject line so I know who you are when I read it and it goes to my inbox. But don't rule out looking at your local, a public, a regional, or a university librarian like myself at an institution you have a connection with, or you may want to reach out and touch base with wherever you are around the world. Excellent people, usually willing to help you to do these sorts of things. So there you go. Good luck with this assignment. And the last assignment, email me if you need further assistance, but I look forward to talking to you soon about other more equally important issues. So all the best and stay safe.